So this is Scott, and the scenario that we're working on today is empty nesters, liking the mountain bike, and comparing to the HRV, concerned about performance and safety. So, walking around. All right. Okay, so Scott, we got done looking at the iPad, looking at the route we're going to be experiencing today, and what makes Mazdas different. What we're going to do before we actually drive the car, that was actually walk around the vehicle real quick, show you a couple of the things that you might not notice when you're actually driving the car, but to help go along with that. Always like to start right up here under the hood here. Big thing is always like, I'm going to say Sky Active a lot. Now, Sky Active is Mazda's umbrella term to make cars better, more efficient, and safer. And so, as we're going through, first I want to start off talking about the Sky Active motor. What it is, it's a direct inject motor. It's a high compression ratio. And what you do is you get the best of both worlds, because this gives you lots of horsepower, but also really, really good fuel economy. And that's one of the things that Mazda really prides themselves on, is thinking a little bit differently and being more efficient and smarter with their cars to give you that better experience. Comparing this to the HRV, what you're going to notice is even though the horsepower numbers are really very close, they have a little bit smaller motor, and with ours we have 19 more foot-pounds of torque, and it comes in over 1,500 RPM less, meaning peak torque is at 2,800 RPM, which is right in your driving range. So when you're going up those mountains, you're pulling up to pass somebody, you're fully loaded with all of your vacation stuff, you still got power. You're not having to put your foot really into it to take off. You've got your power there already, so you're not going to feel like you're underwhelmed by the performance up in the mountains. So, a couple of things to point out while we're under the hood here as well. One of the things that makes Mazda's, well, unique is Kelley Blue Book has actually named Mazda 2 years in a row, named it the least expensive brand owned in America. And what that takes into consideration is maintenance, depreciation, fuel economy, and insurance costs as well. And the reason I point that out is we're under the hood here. As you can see, everything's easy to get to, easy access, out in the open. Down to as simple as it sounds, but can you actually get your hands on the headlights? I mean, just the things that you don't necessarily think about. Mazda's made this very serviceable, which obviously is going to cut down on cost of ownership. The other thing that's really cool is overall vehicle reliability is very, very high to go along with that. So while we're here, a couple of things I just want to point out. It's a little hard to see with the hood up. So as far as safety equipment goes, I'm going to start right here. This is Mazda's radar, forward-facing radar. Basically, that's going to work with the adaptive cruise control. So if you're on the highway and you set the cruise a little bit faster and then you catch up to some people ahead of you, it'll slow your vehicle down, it'll pace them, then when you change lanes, it will speed up and continue on your path. Just one less thing to have to work with in traffic, but also because this is here, it's able to sense things that are in front of you. And so with smart brake support, what that's able to do is if you have a rapid closure, something happens in front of you and it senses that there's going to be a collision, it's going to do its best to prevent that by actually stopping the vehicle for you if you don't interact and put your foot onto the brake already. Okay. Looking up the windshield up here, we've got up there is actually a couple different sensors. Again, the idea is to lessen the burden for you driving, so you can concentrate more on the driving and less of the other things. So what we've got up there is a camera that actually follows for lane departure. So if you're starting to drift out of your lane, it's actually going to illuminate a light and beep at you, then you know you've actually drifted out of your lane. To go along with that, we have our sensors for automatic windshield wipers and automatic headlights, because these are the LED headlights with LED daytime driving lights. And these have a adaptive front sight system, so when you're on those curvy mountain roads, when you turn left, that left headlight's going to pivot around up to 15 degrees so you can see around the corners, you can see where you're going, not lighting up off the road, you can actually see your intended path. Also incredibly bright, so when those things called deer are in front of you, the eyes pop and you're going to have great visibility at night because they have great distance and great throw out of them. To help with that, this also has high beam control, meaning if you're out in the country and there's nothing around you, your brights are on. It senses a car is coming, it'll turn your brights off and go back to the low boost, and it handles that automatically for you. So again, you can just drive and it handles those incidentals for you. Going on the vehicle, a couple things I want to point out. This has got blind spot monitoring it, and actually in the side mirror here, what'll happen is if there's a vehicle in your blind spot, it'll illuminate, and either the side mirror is indicating there's something in that field of view for you. But 1 lane wide and 25 feet back of you. So good visibility as far as in the vehicle, but in traffic, it's easy to have someone sneak in there, so if someone does, it's going to alert you to just make it safer to drive in traffic. Okay. Next up, since safety is a big thing, but also you're going to be traveling a lot, wanted to point out, certainly quite a bit of storage space. You've got bikes.
Right.
And so bikes clearly aren't going to fit in here, but one of the things Mazda did is they made it very easy, and actually Mazda accessories, racks for the roof, so you can secure your bikes up top, and then still use all this for your luggage, so you're able to secure your bikes, transfer them safely, and you're still going to have room. While we're back here, I did want to point out you do have a backup camera, so by having your bikes up here, the bikes won't interfere, like if you had a ditch one, so you'll be able to see behind you. But also back here, remember I told you about that blind spot monitoring system? The radar is actually in the back corners here, and what that does is when you're backing up, that radar is going to sense if a vehicle is coming across your bumper or a person at more than 3 miles an hour, and it's going to illuminate those side mirrors or on the backup camera on the screen if something's approaching, giving you again a chance to stop before you back into something in a crowded parking lot. Sure. Okay. Next up, I'm going to have you have a seat here real quick. But before we get that, I want to talk a little bit more about the Sky Active, because this is an easier place for me to describe what it is. Mazda uses a lot of ultra-high strength steel in their cars. What that does is it makes the cars lighter, which is always good for fuel economy, but it's also a stronger steel, so they're actually able to properly tune the suspension to give you a great drive and great feel, but at the same time it increases the safety ratings. And so what they do is they reinforce this area here, up and through here, and it's designed so that in the event of a collision, it actually will absorb it to the front, and this steel is actually so strong the way they designed the load pass that it'll put all that force around where you're sitting to the back, meaning if you get into a bad accident, you're in the safest place possible because you're in a very, very strong roll cage. Okay, now that we got you in the vehicle, let's take a minute and adjust the seat. This is a height adjustable seat, so let's make sure we get the height at the right spot for you. Tell me when you're good. That's good. Okay. Now a couple things just to point out right off the bat. Notice how everything on the dash, the steering wheel, is directly centered on you. The whole idea is Mazda drives, designs cars for drivers, so everything is going to be centered on you. It's going to be right where you need it to be, including the Mazda's active driving display. What'll happen is when we start the car, that's going to motorize and come up. That's going to give you information for GPS, your speed, and some of your alerts as well. And the idea being is, again, cut down on the distractions, make it easier to drive, have everything where you need it to be. So much so that there's your radio display right there on the top of the dash. And most manufacturers, it's a touchscreen, and it is here as well. But when you're driving, again, it's kind of distracting to be reaching and following your finger to work on a touchscreen. Look right next to you there. See that joystick?
Yeah.
That's Mazda's Connect and Mazda's way to control your stereo. So you're actually able to work your phone, your GPS, and all that
right here with that,
without having to watch where you're going. So again, you're not going to be a distracted driver, and you have complete control over everything. And again, the radio's up top there for another reason, and that's because it's closer to your field of view, so you can catch it out of your peripheral vision, not taking your eyes off the road. So everything's, again, all about you, the drive, and being safe.
Sure.
Make sense?
It does.
Cool. Well, let's go for a drive.
Sounds
see what
good.
you think.
Let's do it.